Hey, what's up anybody? So with the Pokemon Direct dropping a couple of weeks ago, we got some very interesting news. Debatably cool reveals and more content on the way. With everyone mostly praising the new content and excited to get their hands on more things to do in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I've noticed I feel slightly different than most others. I like playing Sword and Shield. They're fun games to add to my growing collection of Pokemon games, but for me, playing Pokemon is more of an experience and time sink than just a quick playthrough for the story. Due to my absurd obsession with Pokemon, when I heard about the Pokemon Direct for January, I was eager and excited to see how they would add content to the game or sell everyone a new cartridge with slight updates and some extra content, but it felt too soon for that. So I started to think they would talk about some of the other things Pokemon has probably been working on, like Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Home. Maybe a way to bring the national decks back. But no, what we got was a very clever move by Pokemon with a DLC pack worth only 70% of a full game. But the base game is needed to play this new, improved, and expanded content. I like all the things announced for the DLC. I bought the DLC already, and everything announced looked awesome, but it doesn't sit well with me for some reason. On one hand, the DLC rewards players that bought Sword and Shield because they have progressed in the game already and will be able to jump right into the new areas with plenty of money, curated Pokemon, and tons of items. On the other hand, people that were waiting for Ultra Sword and Shield 1.5 now gotta walk their protest back, and if they want to play with the new Pokemon, will have to buy Sword and Shield and then maybe the DLC because we wanted a game with a lot of content. Or they'll have to wait even longer for the next generation of games, and those games probably won't have a national dex either, unfortunately. Looking at how the remake games always sell less than the base games, with how much Sword and Shield have sold, plenty of people that want a little more content from a game they already bought will be buying the DLC, making sure that the DLC will sell more than a new revised Sword and Shield game would. I understand both stances on the DLC. What I can't fully side with is the new forms of known Pokemon that will be released in the future. I like the designs and what they look like, but it feels like they're just recycling old creatures, and that's kind of a letdown for me. Instead, they could change the size, color, model a bit, give them a different name, and work them in like that. They could still be based on previous creatures, but it would avoid the different forms for a limited amount of Pokemon. Mega Evolutions are only available to some Pokemon. Gmax forms are limited distribution, for now and probably forever. And it shows Pokemon is always trying new things in terms of creativity, but it also sends a message that they won't fully back a concept and will scrap it by the next game or two, which is a shame. Speaking of scrapped concepts, I would like to see SOS battles come back, but be available to more Pokemon. It was a great way to hunt specific monsters or specific abilities, because you had to be prepared for what the Pokemon's moveset was and for the logistics of fighting for so long. You were outnumbered, and unless your mom was overleveled, it could add difficulty to hunting specific mons. SOS chaining usually gives me reasons to search for unconventional solutions to specific hunts, or at least I will use moves that I wouldn't use in my casual playthrough or normally even think about in Generation 7. Very different in Generation 8. I actively avoid fighting the Pokemon in the wild area since they all feel too similar, being level 60 with common abilities and the same moveset. The only Pokemon worth fighting for a collector like myself are specific Denmons to collect their hidden abilities. And for shinies, Masuda method is much faster in most cases than just doing the Kangaskid Kid murder method. Even if I despise having to hatch shinies because it is kinda boring, if the SOS method isn't on the table, maybe we could go further back and bring back the deck snap system, which was difficult to understand but quite amazing when searching for specifics like egg moves, items, or hidden abilities. How would it work? I have no idea. But if I think about it, I'm sure I could come up with cool ways to make it work with overworld Pokemon. Horde battles would be cool too. In essence, I would like fewer forms, more returning Pokemon or new Pokemon instead of trying to recycle a couple of legendary Pokemon. It cheapens legendaries in my eyes. Yeah, it feels like there are a lot of legendaries in Pokemon, especially since every generation has like 7 or 8 or 11. What? Yeah, 11 from Generation 7. Even though in total, legendaries sum up to 51 with Zacian and Samacenta included. So out of 893 Pokemon, that is 5.6% of all base Pokemon are legendaries. Still kind of a small percentage. It especially wouldn't feel like there's a lot of legendary Pokemon if the whole national dex was there to peruse through. It will feel like there's a lot of legendary Pokemon now that they are all coming to Sword and Shield, and some, are getting secondary forms. I wonder if Groudon, Rayquaza, and Mewtwo are getting secondary forms, or if only the ones that never got Mega Evolutions are getting alternate forms, or maybe just Gen 1 and Gen 3 and Gen 4, but what about Gen 2? Is this how they'll confirm Diamond Pearl remakes? Generation 4 had 9 legendaries. Will they all get remake forms, or just the Titans from Gen 3?
I want answers.
I also want answers for Pokemon Sleep. Is it even a thing that's real? Or was it just a late entry for an April Fool's joke, since it was announced in May of 2019? What would be cool to bring it all together would be for Pokemon Sleep to be the way they release some of the missing Pokemon's hidden abilities, or how the Japanese know them, dream abilities. I have nothing else to do with Pokemon Sleep but speculate, since there is no information about it at all besides that it might release 2020 and that it will have compatibility with the Pokemon Go Plus accessory. Back to speculation. It would be cool if Pokemon Sleep gameplay consisted of counting Mareep or Wooloo, player's choice, and collecting items while asleep that could be sent to Sword and Shield and redeemed for hidden ability capsules. These hidden ability capsules would be expensive to incentivize good sleep patterns and prevent people from having ridiculous reserves of these in the main games. Maybe something like 2 weeks with 80 hours of sleep will net you 1 hidden ability capsule. Seems expensive, but we sleep every day, and good sleep habits are very good for promoting health. Maybe I should practice having a better sleep schedule. Besides, hidden abilities are breedable, and for most Pokemon, only one mon with a hidden ability is needed for the whole Pokemon line. It would be a great way to release Wooloo's hidden ability, or to give permission for Marie to immigrate to Galar. Pokemon Home was minimally mentioned during the Direct, but it might be the way that the Sword and Shield starters' hidden abilities are distributed. In Generation 7, the starters' hidden abilities were distributed to players by requiring them to have access to Pokemon Bank. So why wouldn't they do the same thing for Generation 8, since they have a similar program with Pokemon Home? The one feature I am most excited for in the DLC though is the Apricorn Ball announcement, since we have very inconsistent and annoying way of getting more Apricorn Balls after the 2 sets with a finished file and mystery gifts in Sword and Shield. This announcement is great for people that hunt and trade in Apricorn Ball Mon currency on Reddit, as I have started to do. I appreciate the trouble of getting some of these Aprimons, and that they are so limited in how many one person can get, but making the Apricorn Balls slightly easier to get would be a welcome addition to the games. It would give casual players more options to catch their favorite Pokemon in, or an easier way to start on a journey that would give them a reason to play Pokemon far past the end of the game, and for people that start with Sword and Shield, a reason to play past games like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. If the way to obtain these April Balls is too easy though, it will devalue a lot of the Aprimon that existing collectors already have, but not completely, since collectors with Heart Gold and Soul Silver already have access to a somewhat unlimited amount of Apricorn Balls. so the value will go down, but not away. I'm Jay's Rocket, and after saying all this, I'm blasting off. If you see this video, could you give it a like? Maybe follow me on social media, even though it isn't worth it. Have an excellent day, and maybe you'll see me again.